Hello, listeners. You are listening to 96.5 FM KZAA with the beautiful, strong Siobhan Hoover and myself, Ana Rosa Rizzo Centino, warrior mother and que madre in effect. And today we've got a couple fun topics for you. And I'll introduce one and then I'll let Siobhan introduce the other. What is the difference between being nice and being a good person? Um, Lots to talk about on that.
Yes. And the other topic we're going to cover today is the girl time and what that means for you physically and emotionally
Mhm.
and spiritually, I think, too.
Yes. So just been going through some things that inspired the first topic that I mentioned. And it's just, I've noticed I am a very naturally nice, kind person. And I've noticed, unfortunately, people take that as a sign of weakness or being dumb. And so for this year, I think I'm going to try something different, like still being motivated at the core by love, but being really clear on my boundaries and um, when someone is gaslighting me, instead of just letting them gaslight me, being clear about what's happening in the moment. Uh, because I think people feel like they could get away with a lot of stuff with women of color. And I'm just going to say this, don't try me.
Oh, mood. It's like, I'm all love and light, but listen, you might get cursed out this year. Like, you just might. I think that topic also, it like tiptoes the line of boundaries.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, some people don't know where that line is. And so you have to make it very clear. And sometimes that might come off as being on edge. I was going to say something else. On edge, it comes off as, you being rude or whatever the case is. But I think that ensuring that your mental health is in check first, or that your mind is where it needs to be first, that's kind of, it's like, yeah, you got to prioritize yourself here.
Yes. Yeah, because there are situations where it's like, okay, don't make me take my hoops off, because once the hoops are off, I don't know what you're
For life.
what you can expect. But I love the topic that you were talking about because it was about hanging out with your friends and the boost that we get, right?
Yeah. And one more thing before we transition is that people pleasing and being
Yes.
nice and being, it you might be taken for granted or advantage of if you are too nice and just continue to please people. You don't put your needs first. And so what I found is that it's also like a form of control.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to control other people's opinions of you. And so sometimes, being too nice is also kind of a way of manipulating other people, right?
Interesting.
I learned this because I used to do it, and I'm not doing it anymore. Not doing that anymore.
Well, and
But
at the end of the day, we have no control over people's opinions.
right.
We could be the nicest person
Mhm.
on earth, and somebody will still call us this or that out of our
They'll
name.
find something wrong. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I just wanted to like touch on that really quick because, like I said, it was something that I used to do as a way of like, oh, I want everybody to like me. And
Yeah.
at this point in my life, it does not matter if you
Yeah.
like me or not. It's kind of like I'm showing up as who I am, and
Yeah.
if it doesn't, if it doesn't vibe, that's okay.
It matters that I like me.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. That's
If
it.
I can look myself in the mirror and
Yes.
be like, I like what I see
Yes. And I'm
and
a
what I
good
stand
person.
for. Yep.
I'm a good person. But yes, and in going into, the bonds that you create with the people who are your people, spending time with them is like, personally, it's like some of the most fun time. We still need to do a brunch.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a drag. In fact,
Yes.
I will. Yeah. So do that date. So, you know, personally, it's something that I need in my life. Like,
Yeah.
I need my girl time.
Yeah.
And if I don't have it, I notice that I'm a little bit more on edge, a little bit crabbier. um, I don't know about you, but like in certain situations or when I don't know, something comes up and I'm not sure like which way I should go, being able to bounce it off people that I trust
Yes.
and love, it just means everything. And it's not so much that it's like, it's not gossip. It's more so like, help me flush this out,
Yeah.
And sometimes our worries and our cares are put into perspective.
Right.
And it's like, you know what? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I was with some girlfriends the other night, for example. I got roasted because somebody said something about hair, somebody's hair. Somebody had a complaint about hair, and I said, "Oh, I know, I like get so bored with my hair, and I don't know, it's like, it's just blah." And they were like, "If you don't shut up right now,"
Yeah, you look
it's
gorgeous
like,
there.
I retract my statement. Okay, I'm sorry I said that, and it does. It's like I can sit here and pick myself apart and be like, oh, this feels boring to me, or I don't like this about myself. And then your girlfriends are there and they're like, wait a second,
You're a
let me
goddess.
tell you why you're awesome. And I'm like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry you said that,
Yes.
But I feel like that's everybody needs that in their life. You need the cheerleaders on your side to remind you sometimes
Yes.
how awesome you are. So
It's so easy for us to forget because we're with ourselves every day. So
mhm,
maybe
yes.
sometimes we bore ourselves because it's like, oh, same
I
thing.
think so.
You know,
Yeah.
like I've been feeling like getting a haircut, but I know I want to regret it as soon as I do because I like long hair. But I just get bored sometimes and I'm like, oh, let's try something different.
Do
So
a little
I'll
trim.
probably do something with this with
With the
this
color.
highlight and
Yeah.
make it pink again or something.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah. I like that. I'm always so afraid, I'm always same thing. Is like I chopped my hair one time and I was like, oh, I'll never do that again. And so now I like it long. And when I go for a show, I'm like, just don't like
Just the
a little
tips.
bit, just like take a little bit off. So I get it. Just the tips.
You know, that made me think of something else, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna get it out there.
I'm gonna refocus. Oopsies. In any case, when we are with girlfriends, there is laughter, there is adventure, and great company. And so, physically, what's happening to us is that there are chemicals going off in the brain that are the feel goods, the oxytocin, um, and it's like then for me, I continue to chase that feeling,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it feels good and it feels nice.
Yeah.
And laughing is one of my most favorite things. If we can sit there and laugh and my stomach hurts
That's
and
the best.
that's my
Feels like you
favorite.
did crunches.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're telling the other person, shut up, stop it. Um, like who doesn't love a good belly laugh?
Yes.
And so what can we do in our lives to ensure that we get that?
Yeah.
That's kind of like the hard part of it. It's everybody's busy. Everybody, you have children, you have your career, you have your spouse. And some spouses are not so okay with spending a whole lot of
Yes.
cold time.
And they may have double standards, like it's okay for them to go out and do this, that, or the other, but for
Yeah.
you to go out, you get the little, and even if they don't say it, like they make you feel it.
Yeah, yes. There were instances where we had, single friends and married friends. And some of the married friends' husbands were not okay with the married women hanging out with the single women. And I was like, well, first of all, how insecure do you have to be? But
Right.
second, or controlling. But second of all, we're not encouraging bad behavior here.
Right.
We're not encouraging anybody to go out and do anything wrong. And for the married women, they're not encouraging the single women to go out and find a mate, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not what's happening. So
It's like they think things always surround men,
Yeah.
and it's like, actually,
let's talk about that.
what's that song? You're so vain. You must think this song is about you. Like,
yeah,
simmer down.
Yeah, it was not. It was not about you. Golly, well, yeah, and so I know that there have been many arguments probably from those who are listening, where you might have had some pushback from your spouse, saying, hey, like, I want that quality time, or there's a bit of jealousy, in there. Um, but and in relationships in general, if you can have your girl time, you can have his boy time, or whatever kind of relationship, girl time, you can spend time with your friends and your partner, and it's balanced. I think that is the best kind of life. So ultimately, those are the happiest people.
Well, because it's valuing that the other person has their own sets of desires, wants, personality, like they are their own person.
Yeah.
Just because you become a couple doesn't mean that one of you dissolves into the other. Like I feel like sometimes that the vows that you say like on the wedding day is kind of weird, because it's almost making it seem like you two are now one, and in a way you are, but in another way you don't forget who you started being out in the first place,
Yes.
I think it's very dangerous when it's that codependent, right? When it's
Mhm.
like the lines are crossed and people forget that the other person also has their own goals and
Mhm.
needs to live life and feel at least some semblance of freedom,
Yeah. Well, I like what you said about how, you become one when you get married. And it's so true, but it's like, what drew you to that person in the first place? And it was probably a sense of independence and adventure. And that's probably, when relationships get comfortable, that's probably one thing that falls apart. And once you lose that that sense of independence, excuse me, for me, I feel a little bit like a trapped little bunny in the corner, and it's like, let me out. um but again, it's like, okay, well, also, how do we respect boundaries in that same way? So I feel like there was a very delicate balance,
Mm.
between those things. Or if your partner is saying, this makes me uncomfortable, what is a reasonable versus an unreasonable request?
Right.
And how do you balance that out without changing who you are?
Yeah. Communication is key, and that's hard, right? Because I don't know about y'all, but most men that I've encountered are not the best communicators. Um, and of course, we are talking to everyone. So whether you're in a heterosexual relationship or a homosexual relationship, like it's all good, but it comes down to communication. So hopefully your partner can talk to you and can uh, know that you have a brain to like reason things out and not treat you like a child or try to manipulate you.
Mm,
That's ideal.
yes. Oh, buddy. And I have to say that, like, I I also have not been the best at communication. Excuse me. And it's hindered some things, in my relationships. And it's something that I see is like, for in a lot of relationships, I want to bottle up and just close up and turn off, and here goes the wall, and all the bars come up, and everything. And that's just not, it's not the way to go. It's almost just as toxic as yelling and, being malicious. But what I see now is that I can articulate my opinion or my stance or my perspective, and it's not going to tear the relationship apart.
Right.
So that is something that happens when you feel safe and when you
Mhm.
feel secure, and when you're not feeling that. So that's what perhaps in men, they don't feel safe and secure, or maybe they just weren't taught to communicate their feelings. I mean, a
Well,
little bit of everything.
they're taught to bottle up their feelings. They're,
Mm,
like men don't cry, that whole BS.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we gotta teach those of us who have sons. I don't, but those of us who have sons like Siobhan to teach our sons that it's okay. It's not just
Mhm.
okay, it's like good to show your emotions and to express yourself. And that's the only way you get through in life, by communicating.
Yeah. It's definitely something that I'm trying to teach my son. It's he's one of those guys, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's when he's happy, when he's not,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And so for that, I'm very proud of him for kind of just like being who he is, all the way around.
Aw. And he loves sports, right?
He does. He's constantly moving, whether he's dancing or all of a sudden he'll take off running and I'm like, oh gosh. But I'm like, maybe that's how he stays slender, he's
Yeah.
just like constantly in motion. It's like he's constantly burning,
Yeah.
But he's the kind of kid that will like get up in the morning and decide to walk to school early because he wants to kind of get some of that energy out.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's something I admire because
You're not so
Not
much
good.
of a morning person.
I'm not. And the funny thing is that I'm up early every morning because I have clients at the gym.
Right.
And so I get there and I'm like, good morning. But I'm like, that good morning.
Inside
It was like, yeah, I'm trying to
it.
like talk myself up. Like,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful out. I'm telling my clients
Yeah.
this and they're like, yeah.
And we know what's happening.
Yeah, we know. So yeah, in any case, that is a good way of releasing stress. Especially, if you get up first thing in the morning and start moving, it's like it kind of it like sets your body up, for movements of energy. And I'm always talking about the stale energy that's in our bodies.
Yeah.
So, it's something that's also how I feel like with laughter. Laughter helps move the stale energy through your body.
Or some sage, like she had to sage me down today because
Yes.
I had a very intense meeting yesterday that I just needed to get that energy off me. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. No, I'm all about it. And again, it's like you have some girl time and it's like, let's take a moment to pause and just get ourselves right before,
Yeah.
before we do this.
Yeah. So I wanted to share a fun experience. I got to host a vision boarding session with a bunch of amazing women. And I'm following the tradition of Jessica Arciniega, who I've known for 24 years, Marisela Morales, who I've known for 23 years. And so they kind of brought me into the fold of doing this. And it was just so nice. We had 9 women get together last Saturday at the Community Roots Garden. And it's something that we're trying to do on an annual basis. So definitely let us know if you're interested for next year. And I know that Pura Luna has some exciting opportunities to get the girls together too for Valentine's Day on the 12th at 3 p.m. Which I think I'm gonna try to go to, but I think Siobhan's busy, so I'll have
I think
to
I'm out of town that
take her to
day.
brunch another day or something.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes, for brunch. Brunch and laughter. Yes, and at Pure Luna, they have a I think it's a full moon or a new moon. I can't remember which one.
They
But
alternate, right? I think they do both.
They do, yeah, but there's quite a few happenings. They're also going to do some herbal potions. So they have quite a few workshops that are coming up that are always I think they're so fulfilling. And again, spending that time in community with your sister friends is like it's healing to your heart.
Yes.
Very much so.
So on that note, I'm going to do station identification. You are listening to 96.5 FM. KZAA with Siobhan Hoover and Ana Rosa Rizzo Centino. We are missing the lovely Ali Cortez, but she says she's going to be back on schedule with us next week. So we'll have her back, which will be really nice.
Yes. I know we miss you, Ali. Tell us about your vision board. What does that look like? What does it include? For people who don't know what a vision board might be?
Yeah, so it goes with the idea of manifesting what you want in your life. And so in the past, it was always hard for me to find what images I wanted to put on my vision board. And so the board itself is just like a poster paper. And then you go through magazines looking for images that kind of reflect what you want to manifest. And so for me, I put the centerpiece was kind of this text that said, old institutions can crumble. And this is something of delight. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually what I'm trying to manifest right now, because we've seen, through way too many killings of Black people and brown people, that the institution of policing does not function. So looking to see how we can manifest that defunding of police, because the safest communities are actually the ones that have the most resources, not the most police. Government, right? Like the people who have been serving in government for the most part do not reflect working class interests. So getting people in those positions that actually care about working class people of color, that are, it matters to them that you cannot pay your rent, because if you can't pay your rent, you're homeless. And we stigmatize homeless people like they're, oh, this and that, but really a lot of us are one paycheck away from being homeless. And so if we're not real about that, and we don't understand that we're actually in the same struggle with each other, we are not thinking straight. So just really making sure that all those institutions that don't make sense for us, that we tear them down. And sometimes I think when people hear us say things like tear it all down, they think that there will be nothing left. And that's not what we mean. We mean we're tearing down white supremacy, we're tearing down capitalism, and we're trying to uplift the things that our ancestors have been fighting for since day one, which is taking care of our earth, being good stewards for the plant life, animals, our fellow sisters and brothers, and creating systems that are people-centered. So that's what will be left when we fight for those things, as opposed to what exists now.
And the school systems too, how do you
Yes.
feel about that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
School systems. Yeah, I just, there's been just so much tension in all of these things. And I think when you say, defund the police, they think, oh, great, you're gonna take away all their resources, and then, and then crime's gonna go up, and so, but there just has to be another way. There has to be another way. We need to look at other countries and see what they have, implemented into their systems, and try something different. It's not working. It's not working, and it is set up to, I just feel like it's set up to harm, marginalized groups. It's just, it's set up to do exactly what it was meant to do.
Well,
And so,
policing was created to catch runaway slaves.
yes.
And a lot of people don't know that.
So if you happen to, want to research that more, there's a really well put together documentary on Netflix. And is it called The 13th?
Yes.
It's called The 13th. And it's relating to the 13th Amendment, which was the abolition of slavery. And so it talks about how the police system was created to catch the slaves, and then how our prison system was actually created was for free labor.
Yeah.
So because you could not have slaves, if someone committed a crime, then they could then be sentenced to a lifetime of labor,
Right.
and that began the new slave, era.
Right.
So the 13th is a very, very good educational way to kind of understand what it is now in present day.
Absolutely. Yes.
In any case,
Sorry, I just got distracted.
Squirrel.
A squirrel.
It's literally.
It's literally a squirrel. Okay. Hey, squirrel.
We have squirrels that run across the roof, creating havoc.
Friends.
Yes.
Our little squirrel friends. We'll just pretend we're Snow White or something.
Yes. Yeah. Surrounded by the animals out here.
He's got a cute little kitty too.
Yeah.
Tito.
2 of them. Yeah. Tito and Stefan.
What happened to
And
the babies?
they're brothers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. They're brothers, and they just grew up so fast.
Oh my gosh, they're so big now.
They are, and they're not even a year yet. They're they'll be a year at the beginning of April. And so around my birthday is when they were born. And we picked them up in June is when we adopted them. So we just started letting them go outside, and I'm afraid that one of them is going to catch a bird or something out here, or like,
Lunch.
little critters. Yeah, so wish me luck with that, guys.
Yes, when you can't hang out with your girlfriends, hang out with your pets. I feel like they're a big boost of oxytocin too. I have 2 dogs and they're so sweet.
So I just read that a cat's purr has, okay, so you know everything has a frequency.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, crystals have the door has a frequency. But a cat's purr, it has a frequency that is actually healing to the body.
What?
So you know how people do like, sound baths where different frequencies will help heal organs or bones or muscle strains or a broken heart or
Aw.
stress, but the cat's frequency in their
Wow.
purr is known to help heal the body.
That's so cool.
Right. So when one of them was a baby, Seven, he would like curl up into my neck and he would like purr in my face. And I would be like, oh God, like this position is so uncomfortable. And then it would actually relax me.
Mhm.
And I would be like, oh, okay, come lay right here, and then I
You
wanted
started
it.
to like it.
Yes, because it was something that was calming and relaxing. And when I read that their frequency is actually healing, I'm like, oh man, that was at a time when like I needed that heart healing, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I needed that throat chakra to be opened, and he
Yes.
happened to know the exact spot to
Aw.
like, right? Isn't that
Amazing.
strange? So
Animals are very intuitive.
they are, and especially cats, they're supposed to be like keepers of the realm. They're like supposed to be sacred. They were always sacred in Egypt. And I don't know, I'm a big cat person. I like dogs too, but I like the cats.
I'm both, because I feel like people say you're either a dog person or a cat person.
Yeah.
I like them both.
Same, yeah. But as far as like what's in my home, I'm like, more so I couldn't devote the time and energy into a dog. I felt like that would be not right, and the cats are a little bit more independent. They don't need as much. But these guys, they're very sweet and they like attention. They talk to me. They
Yes.
talk to them. Like crazy.
Yeah,
cat
they're not
lady.
the standoffish cats that don't come around.
They're friendly.
Yes. People came to greet me when I arrived.
Nosy, like who's this?
I feel like he was trying to read my soul. He looked straight into my eyes like,
He
who are you?
does,
Are
he
you a good
does.
person?
Yeah. Are you a good person or are you a nice person? What's
Bringing
going
it
on
back to
here?
the thing.
Yeah. So with that, let love be the center of your intentions.
Aw.
Because yeah, I think overall love is healing, and it's what will keep you grounded. It's what will keep you safe and sane. Safe and sane, that feels like a theme.
Thing. I feel like that reminds me of what's that? DARE program.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, folks, did you have DARE? The Drug Abuse Resistance Education.
Education. Yes.
Yes. Do they still do that?
I don't know.
I don't think they do. No, no. There are a few programs that I wish that can be brought back, but perhaps they can just be revamped a little bit instead of like criminalizing addiction. Perhaps we can see it as a true mental disorder, or
Yeah. Not just to stigmatize people.
Right. In any case, we do it on time.
We are nearing the end. We could probably do another station identification. So you are listening to 96.5 FM. And this is the lovely Siobhan Hoover. I am Ana Rosa Santino. You're listening to KZAA, and we're going to start interviewing guests. Our first guest will be Graciela Cabello from Los Padres Forest Watch. So I'm really excited that's going to happen next week. And we will also be launching a podcast very soon. And don't forget to check out the KZAA website. Next time I will have it ready to read off to you, because you're probably like, well, where do I go? But I'll put it on our Instagram. So if you haven't added our Instagram, please do at Que Madre. You can also subscribe on our YouTube channel, which is just KZAA. All right. Thank you for listening.
Yes. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful day.